Hi, hello. This is, as you already know, because you know the channel, this is Radiant Prosperity coming at you with another Grubhub food delivery driver video. And let me tell you what happened. Okay, so about a week ago, I knew that my air conditioner wasn't working. Because one day while I was out, and the weather was cool then, I was out and I turned the air conditioner on, just to see, make sure it was working, even though it was a day that it was like maybe, in the 60s or, something like that. The temperature was as such where, you didn't need the air conditioner, but being in North Carolina in April, it's definitely, gonna get warm. And we had gotten a little warm weather, and then the weather got cool again. And so I was like, okay, let me just turn my AC on just to see, make sure everything is working. And I don't know, I guess like my intuition told me that, because I had no like indication to believe that it wouldn't be working. Like, for example, I didn't see like any leakages, but at the same time, I don't look for those things, and I need to be better at that, because it's just me. It's not like, I have a husband and, your husband checks on your car and stuff like that for you, or, anything like that. Even though you don't need a husband to do that, anyway, I'd like to have a husband to do things like that, but that's another story. So, yeah, so it was blowing out, like hot air was blowing out. Air other than air conditioning air. So I'm like, okay. And then I also needed new tires. That's like nothing. So I had made an appointment to get the tires installed on Thursday. That was done, no problems, and I went to a tire shop to have my tires installed, and I contacted my mechanic about my air conditioner. And he was like, oh my goodness, those the air conditioner must know I'm talking about it, because it like kicked in a little stronger right that second. But so I contacted my mechanic, and he was like, oh, remind me what year your car is. And I drive a Cadillac XTS, and it's a 2017. And he was like, if it's your compressor, to recharge and running the line to the compressor and everything, that could be very expensive and stuff like that. And he was like, with the air conditioner, it could be multiple things. I won't know until, I take a look at it. So I said, okay. And then I said, well, when you say expensive, what do you mean? Because this way I can, know what numbers we're looking at, and, know what I should expect, financially, to get it taken care of. And he said, oh, it could be like around $1,400, $1,600. So I knew it would be kind of high, because I did a little research, and I also contacted the Cadillac dealership, and they were all like basically the same. My research, the Cadillac dealership, my mechanic, they all quoted around that price. And most of it is labor, because it takes so long. Like at the car dealership, he told me he charges like about $128 per hour. It would take 7 hours. So just for the labor, it would be like about $1,200 or something like that. I didn't calculate, 128 times 7. And then my mechanic, he charges $100 per hour. And I've been going to my mechanic for years. I'm talking about 15 years. He's been my mechanic. He's like my brother. And I trust him, because sometimes you go to these mechanics or, and they, want to take advantage of you, overcharge you, tell you something is wrong when it's not. So I just stuck with the same mechanic. And when I first relocated to Charlotte from New York, he was my neighbor. Our houses, I bought a house in the area. He lived like right across the street from me, across the cul-de-sac. And so that's how I met him. That's how I learned that he had his own mechanic shop, and subsequently he became my mechanic. So anyway, fast forward to the present, because I'm very airy. I can get scattered and be all over the place. So yeah, so he said, okay, bring me the car on Thursday and stuff like that. So I said, okay, well, I know I'm going to have to leave the car with you. Can I take one of your cars? Because he also has a car dealership, a used car dealership connected to his auto repair shop. So he's like, yeah, of course, you can take, my Cadillac. And I was like, okay, cool. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, swapping one Cadillac for another. I've had my Cadillac for about 8 years now, and so I'm used to driving, my Cadillac. I love Cadillacs. That's my favorite car. I don't care about a Maybach. I don't care about a BMW, Porsche. I love Cadillacs. That's my favorite luxury car. And I feel like it's because I grew up always in a Cadillac, because my father always had a Cadillac. My father loved Cadillacs. That was the family car, like my whole life, his whole life, my whole life. My dad died. I was 53 when my dad died, and my dad died at the age of 86. So I had my dad for 53 years. I had my mom for like 32. My mom died when I was 32 years old. I was pregnant with my daughter at the time, due any day, the day before my birthday. All of that stuff happened around, my mom's death. But so I'm like, okay. So I dropped the car off, and I was like, okay. When he told me the price, I said, well, now I'm retired. I'm on a fixed income. You guys know I do Grubhub on the side to make some extra money. I have, my own business online, but that's very new. It's about almost a year old, and sometimes it takes time to build up, a new business, an online presence. And so anyway, just my website is mvpshopsonline.com. I have an Etsy store, Amazon shop, TikTok shop, a spread shop, and I also sell health and beauty products. And I also published a book, a guide to manifesting your best life, because I'm really into mentalism. And so all of that is on my website. I also am an affiliate marketer for a crystal company, and that's all of those links are on my website if you're interested in, even just checking it out. But I'm into crystal energies. So today is Sunday. I work with the sun energy on the day of the depending on the day of the week. So today is Sunday. The sun rules Sunday. So I got my sunstones on. This is literally sunstone. This is citrine. This is tiger eye, and a little hematite is here. And then this is tiger eye. And I also have a citrine stone in my purse for the sun energy. And I also have a pyrite stone in my purse, sun energy. And this is always with me because it's my keychain, but this is a pyrite point too. So I always have this with me too. And this is good luck, because what's the sun? The sun is abundance, it's joy, it's, you know, creativity, it's happiness, it's love and romance, it's, you know, your energy. So that's the crystals that I'm working with today. And I also am an affiliate marketer for Spirit Magica. But back to, you know, the Grubhub aspect of my life. So, okay, so I dropped the car off on Thursday. I got his Cadillac. He has a 2010 Cadillac CTS, really nice. And so I was like, okay, I'm not missing a beat. You know, I'm still in the vibe of having the same car that I'm used to driving. So, so Thursday, I came back out in the afternoon after I dropped my car off. I went home. I took an old lady nap because I don't sleep good at night. So sometimes I take a nap in the afternoon, and then I get up early and come out and do Grubhub and stuff like that too. And I love it. So I dropped the car off on Thursday. I came out. I did Grubhub for a couple of hours Thursday evening. And then Friday, I came out and I did Grubhub. And my mechanic contacted me and he told me, you know, what was going on. He showed me a picture of the car. He texted to me. He like literally took the whole front of the car off. It was like, wow. And so, you know, he told me, you know, what was going on and how he had to change something. He didn't have the right compressor or something to that effect, and so he had to change and get another one. And he told me the car would be ready on Saturday morning, and you know, to just keep his car, of course, his Cadillac, and that he would be ready to bring me the car on, for me to pick up the car on Saturday. And he said, you know, I would have had it ready today, but you know, my daughter Emily is here and she wants me to take her to the mall. And then, you know, Friday, it was Good Friday, so people who, you know, are into that, and I was like, of course, that's your daughter, you know, she comes first. You know, and in my mind, I'm like, I'm not inconvenienced. I have, you know, his car, your car. In my mind, I'm thinking, so, okay, so I came out and I did Grubhub for a good couple of hours. I put gas in the car. I did Grubhub for a good couple of hours. And then, like, around, at the end, like, my mind, the last pickup that I had, my spirit said, after this, just go home. Because I was contemplating whether I should do one more order, but my spirit said to go home. And so, okay, so I'm driving to drop off my last order. A police officer pulls up behind me and is riding me. And I'm like, I wonder why this police officer is riding me. I mean, what could he possibly be riding me for? Honey, he turned on the police lights and pulled me over. I was like, oh my God. So, you know, he pulled me over and he asked me, you know, why did it take me so long to pull over? And I said, you know, in my mind, it didn't take long, but I'm trying to find, you know, a safe space to pull over out of the line of traffic because we was on a very busy road. So I told him, you know, that was why, you know, I was just trying to get out of the way of traffic. You know, I apologized and, you know, I apologized, sir, and stuff like that. And he said, well, do you know why I'm pulling you over? You know, he got nice after that. He kind of was a little sarcastic in the beginning, but then, you know, he got nice. And he said, well, do you know why I'm pulling you over? And I said, no. And he said, well, the registration is expired. And, you know, let me have your license and stuff. So I said, oh my goodness. So he said, whose car is this? And I showed him a piece of mail because even though that's my mechanic's name, he drives a nice car. It's so congested on the inside. You would think that he lived in his car. Maybe he does. I don't know. But anyway, he has a whole bunch of mail and clothes and all kinds of stuff in his car. So I showed the police officer, a piece of the mail, and he said, yeah, that's what's coming up as the owner of the car. So he said, I'll be right back. So he went back to his car. He asked me to pull around the corner out of traffic. See, that's what I was trying to do, but he said, okay, well, you can pull around the corner and so we can get out of this traffic. So I said, okay. So I pulled around the corner, and then he came back to the vehicle. And, I guess like after he wanted to, of course, check my license, and he just confirmed that, whether or not I still lived at the address that was on my license. And I told him that I did. And he said, well, and I told him the situation. I said, well, this is my mechanic's car. And while my mechanic is fixing my car, he let me hold one of his cars because he also has a used car dealership. And never in my wildest dream would I think that the registration was expired. And the officer said that it had expired. He gave me back my license. He said, be careful, because if another officer sees the expired tag, that officer may pull you over as well. So while the officer was in his vehicle, I did text my mechanic, and my mechanic said that the car was registered. He sent me a picture of his receipt, showing that he registered, that the vehicle was up to date as far as the registration was concerned. So after I dropped the offer off, because that's what we say with Grubhub, we call our food orders offers. After I dropped the food off to the client, I called my mechanic and I said, what's going on? And he told me that, because like he did send me proof that the car had been registered. And like he said, the police officer knew that, because when the police officer runs the plate, the police officer can see that the plate is registered. But the police officer is not going to tell me that. And so, anyway, to make a long story short, because I know this was a long story, it turns out that my mechanic never put the new tag on the plate. So the plate says July of 2024. And so he has his receipt to show that he paid for his registration, and we pay property taxes on our car in North Carolina as well. So that shows on the receipt as well. And he sent me a copy of that. And he said, I apologize. He said, we renew online, and then they mail us the registration with the tag. And he was like, I apologize. I never took the tag, the registration out of the mail. It's probably in my car. I never took the tag out to put it on the plate. I apologize. I was like, Nee, oh my goodness, I would never think that you would put me in this situation. And he was like, he was very apologetic. And I'm just thankful that everything went well. So that was my recent Grubhub experience over the last 2 days. I was still able to do Grubhub, but it was with like a little bit of challenge, but everything always works out. I'm so thankful for that. When we remain positive and we remain strong. So that's the message I wanted to state as well. When things go wrong, just stay calm, and things usually will work out, generally. So, yeah. So, that's that. I was still able, to get some footage for the Grubhub driver experience, and also for those who have a curiosity for whatever reason about the Charlotte, North Carolina area. So yeah, I'm gonna, keep grubbing, keep grub hubbing, as long as I need to, as I, build my online presence and, build up other streams of income and stuff like that. But I still want to share, my experiences with you. And, that's a lesson, like, no matter what. It could be, I don't know, your children's car. Make sure everything is, correct, no matter what, to protect yourself. So, yeah. So, thank you for coming with me on this ride. And, we'll take a look at some different neighborhoods, strip malls, roads, etc.
At the light, turn right onto Nations Ford Road.